Hello, I'm Gavin Lansgard of the Barony Flame Griffin. Today I'm going to give some basics on one-handed sword creation and a couple of variations of the hilts that go with them. First off, to start with this, you're going to need to get yourself some rattan. The various choices can be of your choosing. Some people prefer lighter sticks for faster mobility. Some prefer denser sticks for heavier hits. You can tell how the stick's going to look by looking at the end. If you look into it and you see a lot of open space, little holes, it's going to be a lighter stick in general. If you see a denser, less holes, it's going to be heavier stick. Once you choose it, you're going to need to choose your length. These two have already been cut to approximately 34 inches. And from there, you start the process of making your sword. Some of the tools that you're going to need, or whatnot, 2 colors of tape at least, fairly contrasting. Black and red are typical that I use. Strapping tape, which is used to hold on the thrusting tip, and in some cases people use it to reinforce the blade. I also prefer to use grip tape personally, just because I like the feel of it while using my sword. You can use all sorts of materials on your thrusting tip. The thrusting tip itself is made out of a wonderful camp foam. You can find it at most camping stores and local stores. From there, to strap that down, strapping tape, plus I personally like to use some belt grade soft leather. It's malleable enough to actually give the compressive force that's needed, but sturdy enough that it'll actually help survive the tip and make it last longer. Some prefer to use a ribbon, generally silk or other cloth. Another handy item to have is a razor knife or a carpet knife of some kind. For shaping the handle, I prefer using a standard straight edge style knife, but a drawing plane, a grinder, sander, or any of those things will also work. I have 2 hilts that we're going to be using today. I have a plastic that uses the standard pipe fitting clamps, bracket type deal, and then I have the self-contained bracket that will be using a socket driver to attach it. Alright, now that you've picked your rattan and everything else, the next portion is shaving down your handle. There's all sorts of ways to actually shave down and shape the handle. I personally prefer more rounded grip, hence why I've shaved this one down into that handle shape. Some people prefer more of an oval, more of a contoured, or various other things, and some don't like to shave much more than enough to get it into the hilt proper. In the case of shaving down these, when you shave one down, you need to keep in mind that you do need it to be able to fit into the basket that you're going to attach it to, and that it has a little bit of play. That way, once you put the tape in, that it will be fine. From there, my next step I go to is the thrusting tip, which we go to our wonderful camp foam pad here. Pull out the handy razor knife, and I simply do edge it out so it's at 2 edges. Cut right beside the rattan so it's a little bit bigger and wider. When you pull it off, you notice there's a little bit of extra edge on all the sides. And then to give it a round appearance, I simply go around and cut off the corners, which gives you a semi-disc-like shape that the tape, when you tape it on, will finish making it into the proper shape. When making a thrusting tip, part of the rules is that it has to have a 1/2 inch compression, and it must cover the entire edge of the rattan. I already have 2 others cut out here. I use 3 because I do use the leather straps myself for this. It will give it a little more compression than necessary, as the leather makes it a little stiffer in its compression. take out the strapping tape. I put the pads like so, and then I simply line up the sword, bring it up, trim off the tape here, and continue to do it so it's crisscrossed over the top. Be careful when you're doing the strapping tape and any taping on the thrusting tip that you don't compress the tip too much. That way you still have the compression from it. You can actually over tape it and tape it to the point where you lose all compression and it won't pass an inspection. Now as for my leather strap here, find out where the curve of the rattan is. In this case I have a fairly straight one, but there is a slight curve back towards me right now. It's hard to see it, but in person you can see it a little easier. I take it and make sure that I have the leather along that curve. That way it makes part of the striking surface. And with this, I just grab the tape again. And unlike on the tip prior, when strapping the support tape and the support material on the tip down, you want this to be fairly tight. That way it will hold in place really well and actually give some structure to the tip. One of the warnings I will give about using the leather is it does add a lot of tip weight comparatively to the ribbon and the other methods that you can use. Now you have a thrusting tip with compression.